Hello everybody, John here with Shooting Tips and Tricks, and today we're going to be making some brass casings for my 10 gauge here. Now, as you can see, I got a nice chunk of round bar here to start working on it, and I've got a couple of casings here that I took some measurements off of, and I did full measurements on this from the bore, the chamber, all of that, and got everything written down here and ready to go. Now this gun, when I originally got it, it was advertised as a turkey gun, and later I found out that it's not actually a turkey gun, because most turkey guns, they have the choke on them is usually a full choke, so they can keep a nice tight pattern. Now, given the length of the barrel and the iron sights, stuff like that is usually indicative of a turkey gun, but the difference is this one is not a full choke. This one's actually overbored. And by that I mean a cylinder bore on a 10 gauge is about 0.775 diameter. Now I checked this one and it's actually 0.778 diameter. So that slight bit over tells me that it's most likely a slug gun. And the reason for that overbore is so you don't have to worry about over compressing the shell or the bullet, and also to lighten up the recoil a little bit. You have less resistance as it goes down the barrel. Now, and then the next thing I did with this was I checked the chamber on it, and the standard of any 12 gauge, or 10 gauge rather, is 3.5 inch length, and with shotgun shells the 3.5 is always measured by an open case. The closed one like this is always 3 inch. So, and our casings that we're going to be making are going to be roughly 3 1/4. And the reason I don't go 3.5 is two main reasons. The first one is it's longer than anything I'm going to need. If I loaded them to full capacity, it would probably break my collarbone. And the other one is if you, at the end of a shotgun chamber, unlike a rifle which has an edge on it that the brass butts up against, shotguns actually have a ramp, and that's so that when the wad hits it, the bore, or the start of the bore, it doesn't shave the plastic off of the wad. So with a ramp, it's going to squeeze it down into the bore so you can get better shots. Now, so that ramp's going to limit it. It's probably going to bring it inside of 3.5, probably 1/8 of an inch or so. And then originally I thought I'd do 3 inch to replicate a standard shell, but then you're going to have a fair jump from the chamber to the start of the bore. So, and that might have an effect on accuracy. Not sure, but it might. I know if I ever shot slugs out of it, it would most likely have an effect on accuracy, but I don't plan on shooting too many slugs out of this guy. Alright, now the next issue I ran into with the chamber is it is not a straight chamber, and by that I mean at the back here it's about 10 thousandths bigger than it is all the way up in the front at 3.5 inch. So, and most likely that's because if you look at a casing here, I mean, when you go from the brass to the plastic, there's actually a cut down of roughly 10 or 15 thousandths. Some it's even a bit more depending on the thickness of the plastic, quality of the shells, all that. So that's most likely the reason they did that. Now, I could just cut the brass casings just straight and shoot a little bit under, but my OCD isn't really going to allow that. So we're going to make these a tapered casings so it matches the chamber as best we can. Now after measuring it at the very back here, the diameter at the start is 0.860 diameter. When you get about halfway into the middle, it's 0.855. Up towards 2.5 inches, 0.850, and then up at the end is 845. So now we're going to need, since we're not going the full 3.5, we don't have to worry about the 845, so it's going to be more like the 850, give or take a few thousandths. So we're going to need about 10 thousandths of taper on the casings, which means we're going to have to set the lathe to not even a half a degree taper. So to get 10 thousandths over 3 inches, it's probably going to be a quarter, half degree, something like that. So yeah, we will head over to the lathe. I'll get everything set up, and then we'll pick things back up when I start cutting some brass. Alright, now we got everything set up in the lathe here, and we're ready to go. So we'll start out by profiling our piece here, and we're going to take it down to 0.920 diameter. That's the diameter of the rim of the shotgun shell. And then after we've done that, we can cut the rest of it, minus the thickness of the rim, down to 0.860, which is going to be the large diameter of the taper up by the rim. And then once we've done that, we can take and cut the taper in it, and it's going to be 860 up by the rim, and out on the end here it's going to be about 0.845 roughly. And then after that, we can move to boring out the inside, and we'll just drill it out to as close a diameter as we can get. And then after that, we'll take the boring bar and shave it out to the appropriate diameter. And I did have one change with this. Originally I wanted to cut the inside to match standard 10 gauge wads. Well, I was looking at the measurements, and I realized that if I do that, then it's going to leave the wall thickness on this really thick. So resizing or crimping shells and all of that will be next to impossible with that thick of material. So we're going to go ahead and open it up to suit 9 gauge wads, like with most 10 gauge brass does. So then after we've done that, then we can part this piece off of the stock, flip it around, and we can profile the back of it, and then cut the recess for the primer. And then we'll be pretty much done. Alright, well, without further ado, cue the montage. Alright, there it is, all machined out and ready to go. Came out nice and clean. I was expecting to get a lot of chatter on the inside here since we're running the wall so thin, but it came out really nice. Yep. And we got the back here cut out for a regular 209 shotgun primer. And I did check this guy already because I was running the rim here a little bit thick, so I had to go back and shave a little bit off of it, but no real big deal. Now snap it in here again and see how it works. There. Oh, locks up good. Oh, ejects good. Alright, and all ready to go. I'll check our measurements here real quick. Curious to see how it came out after sanding it. Alright, so they're just under 860 on the back here. Pretty much on target. The front here, we're a little thin. 842. I was shooting for 845. Within reason. Given the thin wall, it'll probably expand out to match the chamber once I fire it. Alright. That guy's ready to go. Alright, well, I think that's about it for this video. And as always, if you liked it, there's a button down there. If you didn't like it, well, there's a button down there. Anything you want to add, let me know in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Let's see here. Perfect. I'm curious. Oh, should I?